And I want you to think about when you are up for a raise. The 3% raise myth, right? They tell you we can only afford a 3% raise increase this year. Inflation is 4%. That literally means that you took a pay cut. You're losing. But they gaslight you. Oh, you did a tremendous job. You went above and beyond. They give you examples of all these things that you did so you can be grateful for what they have given you. You see how they use, or psychology is used here to fool you. They use corporate jargons like family. We are families. We're friends to manipulate your loyalty. But when they lay off, do you believe they have your back? And it's very familiar to hear we are a family, but no, you're not. You don't lay off your sister or your mother or your father or your brother or your son or a friend or a daughter because earnings were missed by a penny. This creates learned helplessness. You feel exhausted not only because you work those long hours, but you're really exhausted because you're working or let's pretend that work is running. You're running on a treadmill that someone else is controlling at their will. They keep you just poor enough that you can quit, but yet just comfortable enough that you don't revolt or start your own revolution. But there's always an option, because the question is, if the system is manipulating you, what could you do to contrast that or to create some sort of equality? Most people have, and we've seen this when they use a radical decision such as a general strike. Now take a breath, because I'm going to tell you of something that the elites, the corporations, are terrified that you will figure out. Think about this. They have the money. They have the police, they have the media, but one thing that we have is the labor. I want you to picture this. This is hypothetical. I'm not encouraging anyone to do this, but I want you just to picture this. What happens if the country stops working for 5 days? Not just a protest on the weekend and then things dies out. I mean a full cessation of labor, because we know how far protest goes. It has very little effect, and it will take years for those effects to happen if it promotes changes. Think about this. No trucks move food, no baristas pour coffee, no nurses check charts, no Amazon packages get delivered, no data centers are maintained. The first thing that you will see on day one is that the stock market will crash. There's going to be panic at the boardrooms. By day 3, we're going to see how supply chains break. The billionaires are going to start losing billions of dollars by the hour. Investors are going to start removing their money. By day 5, the system collapses. And to be honest, the rich can't eat money. They cannot drive their yachts without a crew. Their real power is just an illusion. It relies entirely on your compliance, on the people's compliance. And we have seen this before. I'm going to give you an example. In 1934, longshoremen shut down the entire West Coast. The police shot at them. The media called them communists. But they didn't move. That strike built the middle class. I want you to remember this. That move built the middle class. The American dream wasn't given to us by the benevolent billionaires. It was taken by workers who refused to work until they got a fair deal. Have you done that for yourself? Have you stood up for things to change? And it's okay to be afraid, because I'm pretty sure those men were afraid. But at the end, they made the change necessary to bring at least some sort of dignity to the worker. And what is the way out? I believe that the biggest solution is unity, because to break the wheel, we need to learn how to end the division that keeps us disunited. They want you, or they need the division of people by race, gender, generation, origin, background, age, boomers versus Gen Z, black versus white, rural versus urban. This is just a distraction, ladies and gentlemen, because in reality, there are only 2 classes: the people that work for a living and the people that own the things you work on. If you work for a paycheck, you have more in common with a struggling farmer in Ohio or a barista in New York than you do with Elon Musk or the Vanderbilts. We need class consciousness. We have to start following the money. We need to learn accountability for ourselves. We need to ban lobbying, period. No negotiation about this. Straight end it. It's what's poisoning everything in the system. And the worst thing, it's legal and it's allowed to bribe openly. We need to overturn Citizens United. We need a constitutional amendment that says Money is not speech. We need rank choice, voting so we aren't stuck with the lesser of two evils. Think about this. Every time we vote for a president, do they really convince you? Do you really investigate what they're proposing? Are those proposals the best for the people's interest, regardless of their political parties? We need to rediscover the power of no and stop being convinced with an illusional speech. We need to be more united, not only in the workplace, but as a community, as in society. Discuss our salaries. It is legal, no matter what your boss says in the workplace. It's not a crime to talk about your paycheck. Stop tolerating the pizza party illusion, the breadcrumbs that you are fed, the fear factors they built. Demand the profit share. Because if you work hard and you make money for any sort of corporation, that's what you deserve if you work hard enough and you hustle for them. With this, I'm not saying that every corporation is bad. There are good ones out there, but I believe they're less than 1%. My only fear, if people become united and are against the system and they want to change all these loopholes that keeps us prisoner into a system that only makes those in power more powerful, is the development of AI. And why I say this, I'm not opposed to evolution, but if your labor was easily replaced by AI, they will do it in a heartbeat and you wouldn't have a possibility to work. Although, think about this. I want to leave you with this question too. There's a lot of AI CEOs that are talking about that there's going to be jobs that are the AI is going to replace jobs with other jobs. But when you ask them, what are those jobs? They don't even know what that's going to look like. What does this mean? The bottom line is they just want to replace workers so they don't have to pay salaries. That's what scares me the most. And the reason why I'm afraid, because think about this. Let's look at the pattern of behaviors. For centuries, they have built very high walls that are inaccessible for you. They armed themselves with lawyers, lobbyists, and laws to protect themselves. But one thing they don't have is 330 million of us, and there are only a few thousands of them. We are rich by the numbers. We just don't know it because it doesn't feel that way. The American dream isn't dead. It was just stolen. It was grabbing. It was grabbed by those opportunists. But it's time the people takes it back. Not by asking for permission, but by realizing that they are the engine. And without the people, the machine stops. This is the Ethical Podcast where we explore human experiences. Stay critical, stay curious, stay united, and don't let anything and anyone grind you down. We, the people, deserve dignity. But in order to get that, we must unite and become one and forget about the distractions that keep us away from one another. Stay in peace, stay in love, blessings, and I'll see you next time. Welcome back again, Ethics Skill Podcast, where we explore human experiences. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do not forget our campaign. We are committed to transform your subscriptions into pro bono programs for mental health. So you can free somebody's mind from their traumas and help them heal just by subscribing. Very simple, and it costs absolutely nothing. Help us through this campaign, and we just want to pay forward, not only to our viewers, but for those that can't afford mental health services. Just remember, the statistics are real. Only 4 out of 10 Americans can afford mental health services. So help us change that. Hopefully, we can move the statistics and perhaps move it from 4 to 5 out of 10 people have good mental health.